Elevensies with Lisa and Anton. If you're watching, please do say hello, because we'd like to know that we are not just talking into thin air, but sometimes we do. I will edit this to see whether this makes things happen, because apparently I'm on your computer.
You're on my computer.
Let's see. It says I am excellently connected. How does it know? Actually, well, do know some really good people.
It does tell you when you're poorly connected. So.
Oh, yes. Well, I suppose some could argue about that, couldn't you? Where are we here? And I want to save that there. I want to do that.
All right. Well, I've got 4 viewers.
Oh, well, you're working.
So good morning.
Apparently, there's supposed to be something going on here.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a Magickal Moonday, a lovely Monday.
I've no idea.
We're having snow flurries here.
We are. It's quite pretty, actually.
So we just want to remind people that we're kind of working into our new format, where we talk to you in the beginning, and then we have a section that we can use for green evergreen content that we'll edit and put up, like the Black Moon astrology card review. And then at the end, we still pull card of the day. And we're going to stick with this format for a little while longer, and then we're going to change over to doing Elevensies once a week. And once a week, we're going to do the live readings, the 41 card live readings. We're going to change that to once a week. And during that program, we will also do some other interesting things and work on the super chat thing and really build the YouTube subscriptions. So we do really have that 5-year plan for world dominance. Hi, Aaron. How are you?
Hello, Sparky. Thank you for joining us. Yes, you're in New Orleans, apparently.
But for right now, what we're going to be doing is the same format that we had introduced a week or so ago, where we talked to you in the beginning about current events.
No.
And then we have our segment that is our green evergreen content. And then we have our card of the day in our outro. So it's Magickal Moonday.
It is.
Fuzzy hair. All right. And
oh, gosh, I love it.
The moon is working towards being a new moon right now. So we're in the end of November. And the new moons are happening in the beginning of the month for right now. And they switch it out about 2 weeks. They can change as much as 2 weeks. But this past year, for the most part, the new moon has been towards the beginning of the month. So right now, today, November 29th, the moon is in Libra. And it's what's called waning. It's getting smaller.
It is.
And we're having like that dark moon energy. Now, there is a particularly interesting thing about the dark moon this time.
There is?
The dark moon is going to be in Scorpio.
It's
so
December 4th?
The new moon is December 4th.
Right.
And that'll be in Sag.
And it's also going to be a total solar eclipse.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
No, I think it is, but no, we're talking about the moon anyway, so please.
No, we are, but you go do your part, it's all right.
No, I was just pondering. I was pondering.
Okay. No, I
like to ponder. I do occasionally.
Sorry, I was trying to tell them about current events, but if you wanted to
talk about it.
Those are other current events.
No,
so
have at it. Please.
Don't mean to interrupt you.
I'm good with coffee.
Okay. All right, so the moon is in Libra today. So you might find that you're kind of drawn towards doing some balancing work, light and shadow. And then over the next couple of days, you might be in a deep dive into yourself, into emotional stuff. Moon in Scorpio is a very psychic time, but moon in Scorpio as the dark moon aspect, that's an intense time to do some real work. Okay. Good morning, Brenda. And then the the new moon, like you said, will be in, Sagittarius, because the new moon is always in the same sign as the sun.
Yes.
And then, eclipses come in pairs. So
solar
go
eclipse.
for it. Yeah.
No, solar eclipse, and apparently it's going to be total.
How do you know it's a solar eclipse? eclipse?
Because, you see, here's the interesting thing, is what we're going to talk about with the moon. When the moon is new, you can't see him or her. You can't see it. The reason being is it's actually stood with its back to the sun. So if you were on like the other side of the moon, which is not the dark side. Oh God, we had to go Pink Floyd, didn't we? As a matter of fact, it's all dark. No, the back side of the moon, the side we can't see, will be fully illuminated by the sun. And if you were in fact stood on the moon looking at the Earth would be full in the sky. How about that? That's because it's directly it occupies the same place as the sun in the sky. So it's stood with its back there.
Within the same sign.
Within exactly the same sign. It's conjunct. It's conjunct.
That's a good term.
Conjunct. Actually joined, you know. Mm-hmm. Conjunction, what is your function?
Yes.
So it is, but here's the interesting thing. We we look up at night and we see the moon rises and sets at different times, you know. And it's interesting. There is a method and a madness and a lunacy to all of this. There is a pattern. When the moon is new and we can't see it, it rises with the sun and it sets with the sun. And
you're going to have to do this all again in the middle section.
That's perfectly all right. I love talking about this. It's fun, but you can't see it. You can't see it. So there you go. That's it. New moon. And because it's there and because at this time it's crossing the ecliptic, as it's told, it will actually eclipse the sun. Yes, it gets in the way. We'll see that.
So when we talked about the moon through the signs in another one of our videos, we said that you have the signs and their opposite signs, right?
Yes.
So we know that Gemini and Sag are opposite each other. So we're having the new moon in Sagittarius and the full moon in Gemini.
How about that?
Right? 2 weeks later. But right now, today, we're moving into that dark moon phase, to that, the buzzword these days is I'm going to do shadow work. But that really means to do self-work, to do some stuff with your inner soul, with your secrets and your psyche and the things that make you tick. Or perhaps the other buzzword these days are the things that trigger you.
Trigger you?
So
triggers.
Trigger some shadow work, Buttercup, and have a wonderful time of it. Don't let it, unwind you and make you crazy. It's a very intense time. You're not alone. Everybody on the planet is dealing with dark moon in Scorpio.
It is a time of great intention.
But the new moon is falling in the sign of Sagittarius, which is the optimist, the ever amazing optimist. So the new moon would be a great time to start something new. And it's a great time for the things that Sag works with, like higher knowledge, education. Well, it's not a great time to travel.
Well, you can astrally travel.
Astral travel is great, but higher knowledge and education. So, I'm going to really knuckle down and manifest finishing up this book.
Oh, hey, there you go. Broaden your horizons is a good thing to do. Because the one thing Sages can't abide is fences. They don't like fences. Fence a Sag in or tell a Sag they can't do something. Ooh, red rag to a bull. Although I'm mixing the signs up there. but it is, it's
no confinement.
Yeah, Sages will not be confined mentally or physically. You really can't do that. So with the new moon in Sagittarius is a great opportunity to broaden your horizons. Look beyond yourself. Look to how you can expand yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
Sag is ruled by Jupiter, so it's the great benefic.
Exactly thus. So don't look at regressive or limiting or closing in thoughts. Even though we're moving into the heart of winter and it's going to get cold and you want to snuggle down by the fire really or whatever, but it's a good time to really start to think beyond yourself at this point, to lay those seeds, because that's what the new moon is about. It's a time for planting, isn't it? It really is. It's not a time for harvest. Not a time for harvest.
No.
It's a time for
But a time to plan how you're going to harvest and what you're going to harvest and when you're going to harvest and that kind of thing. All right. What's going on there?
Higher knowledge and education is really something some countries need more than others. Tell me about it. Hey, it's not necessarily the country. I don't think you can paint everybody with the same brush, but I don't know. You make something idiot-proof, they come up with a smarter idiot as well.
Well, it does amaze me. I don't want to get on my soapbox over this, but it does amaze me. Halloween, I thought, what are people doing? We had tons of unmasked trick-or-treaters. There was a parade with thousands of people in close confinement that didn't have even a Halloween mask, let alone a COVID mask. And of course, Ulster County now, a few weeks later, is seeing one of the biggest spikes since April, since Easter.
Yes, well,
what do you think the Thanksgiving holiday is going to have manifest by the time we... Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just, I don't understand people, how, why they don't want to protect themselves and others.
Others, I'm
not getting into the vaccine thing. I'm just talking about the simple act of wearing a mask, right? We saw last year, most people wore a mask. There was no vaccine. We had very little regular flu and colds and stomach viruses because people were wearing masks.
It's amazing,
now people are tired.
Yeah,
but anyway.
I get it. I get the, it's uncomfortable, it's inconvenient, but it's merely that, uncomfortable and inconvenient.
Because
you're not going to die of wearing a mask, but you could save somebody's life. So think about that. Oh, and welcome. Thank you for joining us in Sweden. See, we're internationally renowned now.
There you are. Okay.
I love Sweden. I've been there once in my life.
So now we're up to the segment where we're going to talk about the moon. That's going to be our evergreen content. So we won't interact again until we're finished with this little segment, and then we'll talk to you again and pull card of the day, so you have some more inspiration to deal with what's going on. All right.
So welcome to our section on moon phases and moon magic. I believe that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes. If you look at back at the other episodes, we've talked about the moon in different signs in your natal chart or in the heavens. And we've talked about the moon through the houses of your natal chart, like where the moon was when you were born. And today we're going to talk about the moon's phases and how to work magic with them. All right. Well, the two big deals of the moon are the new moon and the full moon. And they are times to really do your magical working, right? A new moon is a time to set something in motion, to plant a seed, and to do magic where you want something to grow, right? The full moon is pretty much anything goes.
Right.
That's mentioned in Doreen Valiente's Charge of the Goddess. She said that we gather once in a month, and better it be when the moon is full.
Is it better it be? It's not exclusive.
It's not exclusive.
No.
It says better it be. So you can do whatever kind of working you'd like to do on a full moon. And then after that, the moon is doing something called waning, which is it's getting smaller. And those times would be times when you did releasing work. So we have a new moon and what's called waxing, growing, getting bigger, wax on. The moon is getting fuller and fuller till full moon. And then you have a waning moon where the moon is getting smaller and smaller until you get to the dark moon.
Wax off.
In between there are other phases. Like most pagans or Wiccan people who work with the moon would use 4 phases. New moon, first quarter, full moon, and last quarter. But there really are 8 phases. And then, of course, that would leave 7 with the dark moon.
Oh, heck. But if you wanted to try and, follow all 8 phases of the moon, hold an SBAT for every single one. And you'd be held in a circle every 3.5 days, It's just kind of, whoa, hold on a minute.
So commonly, most of us who work diligently on spell work or magic would work with the new moon and the full moon. Now, people tend to do 4 different kinds of spells.
Yes.
Right? People tend to do money work for prosperity and career and that kind of thing that has to do with their financial stability.
Right.
People tend to do love or friendship, things that have to do with emotional stability. People tend to do healing work. In fact, to be a witch means to be a healer. So a lot of Wiccan people will work primarily with healing magic on behalf of themselves or others. But you wouldn't necessarily do love magic on behalf of another. And then the last kind, the 4th kind, is work for spiritual connection, like to get closer or build a relationship with a deity. So then you could work those ideas into the cycles.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So at new moon, you plant the seed and you work to build whatever it is you're building. Right? So I'm growing my wealth. I'm working on connecting emotionally. I'm working on connecting spiritually. I'm working on good health. And then for the full moon, you would do your ritual and, your intense magic. And after that, the moon is waning. Well, now what do? I was doing prosperity magic. What do I do for this while the moon is getting smaller?
Well, use the opposite side of the coin, eh?
Banish debt. Right? In only good ways, I'm releasing debts. Let go of negative emotions that might be blocking you from getting that relationship that you're working on anyway. Are you jealous? Are you an overthinker? What's standing in your way? So you would release that. And then, of course, banishing illness, right? And with spiritual growth, maybe you work on going within and finding your deeper soul sense.
Releasing the negative stuff that you've been holding on to, like lack of self-worth, for example,
Or the fears that have been triggering you.
Yeah, exactly. The moon is this wonderful luminary that's available to us the whole time. And you may be familiar with the word catastrophe, yeah? There is, when we teach our Craft of the Wise class, we say catastrophe just means the stars are set wrong. And in astrology, one of the biggest influencers is the moon, The moon and the sun are the 2 great luminaries. So those are called luminaries because they cast a shadow on the earth. The shadow the moon casts when it's full is not the moon's own shadow, it's the reflected light of the sun. So we get into reflected energies in a little bit, which is really wonderful and fun to know. But there is no such thing as a catastrophe where the stars or the astrological energies are just wrong, They're just wrong. You've just got to adapt your magic to fit the available astrological energies. So as Lisa's saying, when we're waxing phase of the moon, when the wax is coming on, so to speak, we're building energy as we build from new through to full. It's a great time to grow stuff. And when you're releasing that, as it's waning, it's a great time to diminish stuff, to let go of the stuff that frankly just does not serve you. So you tailor your magic, as Lisa's saying, to suit the energy of the moon that's there.
But how do you know what the moon is doing? How can you tell? I mean, obviously, if it's dark moon, you can't see the moon in the sky, and then you see that tiny sliver. You know that it's the new moon, and you can pretty much tell when it's a full moon, but how do you know what the moon is doing?
Look and you'll see.
Why can I see the moon sometimes in the daytime?
Look and you'll see. Here's the thing, over millennia, we have looked to the skies. And, there's always... if you're on this path, you're not one of the people who just is content with the humdrum mundane. Yeah? You're dangerous. You think and you look at stuff. And you look deeply at stuff. And one of the things you start to notice, if you look long enough, apart from the shadows receding and lengthening, you know, as the cycle of the year goes, we look to the skies and we say, oh, the moon, it rose at a different time this evening. It's in a different place. I can see a different part of its face. And sometimes in the afternoon you look up and you say, oh gosh, the moon is awfully bright in the sky. Yeah, how is the moon out in the daytime? Or like you're on the way to work early in the morning and the sun's up and it's a beautiful crystal clear morning, perhaps in the winter, and you see the moon low in the sky and you think, oh, that's odd.
Well, remember that they're in this dance together.
The sun and moon in endless chase. They are indeed. It's a beautiful, incredible dance. So what you've got to think about, when the moon is new, which is where we're headed towards at this present moment in time, but it doesn't really matter. When the moon is new, and we'll start somewhere on the cycle, because it's a cycle, you've got to start somewhere. When the moon is new, it's invisible. It's completely invisible. You cannot see it. You cannot see it because the moon is stood, so to speak, with its back to the sun. Moreover, it rises with the sun and it sets with the sun. So it's conjunct the sun. It occupies the same place in the sky. So you can't see the moon because it's where the sun is, so to speak. And it rises at dawn and it sets at sunset. So it's up during the day and it's not illuminated. So this is going to be quite tricky to see. Well, it's impossible to see. Without special equipment. It is possible to find the new moon in the sky if you've got a really, 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 really good telescope. But to the naked eye, no, you can't see it. So the moon effectively disappears for 3 days. It's just gone from the sky, you know. It dies and rises again after 3 days. Golly gosh, I wonder where they get all that idea from. So the moon is, and it's interesting as well. We've all heard, you know, the only time a solar eclipse can occur, and there's one coming up fairly soon, December 4th, I believe. So the only time that can occur is when the moon is in the same place as the sun. So that's going to be at a new moon.
A solar eclipse.
A solar eclipse, because the moon gets in the way of the sun. And it can only happen when it crosses what's called the ecliptic. The ecliptic. That's a lesson for another day. We haven't got a huge time to go through.
A full moon makes a lunar eclipse, but today's really not about eclipses. It's just about understanding the phase of the moon. So I was saying that the new moon you can't really see in the sky, and the full moon you can pretty much tell that it's almost full.
Yes.
Where does the moon rise if the moon is waning?
Waning, if it's waning, which means it's after. Okay, so it's let's go then opposite side of the circle. Let's jump over. So we go to the full moon next. The full moon is visible for the whole night. You've noticed it rises at sunset and it sets at dawn. So you actually can see the whole glorious moon all night long.
It rises at sunset because it's opposite of the sun.
It stands directly opposite the sun. It's opposing the sun when the moon is full. Yeah.
Right, new
so
moon
it's going to be in the opposite side.
At sunrise. The new moon, the moon rises at sunrise. The full moon, the moon rises at sunset. So that midday and midnight are going to be those other stations of first quarter and last quarter.
Yes, they are, that midway point. And this is what we try to, when we're doing our Craft of the Wise class, say, you think midnight, you think, oh, you know, hark at the hands of the clock, midnight. You know, no, it's not 12 o'clock. It's the middle of the night.
So if the moon had been full.
Yes.
And then we're looking for last quarter.
Last quarter. Why are we calling it last quarter?
Where would the moon rise? When would the moon rise?
Well,
when would you see it in the sky?
So it's going to be midway between sunset,
and sunrise.
And sunrise.
Okay, so that's the waning moon comes up midway between sunset and sunrise.
Correct.
And the waxing moon then would be visible and rise midway between dawn and sunset. So you can see that cycle.
So now you start to realize if you see the moon in the afternoon before the sun has set, it is waxing. If you see it in the morning after the sun has risen, but the moon is still up, okay? Because it rises halfway, you know, between And it doesn't set until midday at this point. If it's last quarter, you will see it in the morning.
All right. So what we were talking about today is moon phases and moon magic. So the new moon, you plant the seed. While the moon is waxing, you grow that work.
Yes.
Full moon is your intense time to make it happen. Waning moon is when you release what no longer serves what you were building. All right. So maybe there was a person that, did you some harm in some way. You're going to try to release them. I'm not talking about doing negative karmic magic, but I'm saying
not
like,
doing anybody in here.
We want them to kind of move aside so that we could get on with the work that we're doing, not harming anyone. We would then also banish debt. We would, banish the illness, whatever it is that we're working on. All right. So now that your head is bleeding over that, the most important thing to remember is when the moon is new, not dark. When the moon is new, we start something new. We work at building it while the moon is building energy. When the moon is full, we got that charge of energy, do our work, and then we have a time of releasing. So you could just do magic on the full moon. You could just do magic on the new and the full moon, or you could do a serious ritual on the new moon, first quarter, full moon, last quarter, to kind of make your cycle for that month or month, that 28-day cycle.
Indeed.
All right. And we talked about the kind of magic that people primarily do, which is prosperity, love, healing, or spirituality. Now, in addition to that,
there's more.
The moon is obviously going to be placed somewhere in the zodiac. So we know that the new moon is in the same sign as the sun, and that the full moon is in the opposite sign as the sun. So this gets ourselves like all kind of tricked out, because we think, well, what day is it today? Today is sometime in April, and I'm in the sign of Aries. And since I'm in the sign of Aries, the full moon's going to be in Aries, right? No. The new moon is going to be in Aries. The full moon is going to be the opposite. The full moon is going to be in Libra. And if we pay attention to what's going on, the earth is telling us about this, right? Because it's saying, here's the spring, the Aries time of year. But we can see all of the colors associated with Libra in those pastels that are coming up in the tulips and daffodils, crocuses, all that kind of stuff. And in the fall, when we're in the Libra time of year, thinking, oh, well, the full moon must be in Libra. No, the full moon is in Aries, and we see those fiery colors in the leaves. So we need to kind of start paying attention to what nature is telling us.
It's true.
And we have certainly an opportunity every month for a full moon and work to be done. But the moon in a sign, which we spoke about in other videos, we talked about moons through the signs. But now, instead of talking about the moon through the signs for your nature, your emotional nurturing, we're going to talk today about the moon and spell work. So if the moon is in Aries, that's a great time for motivation.
Get it done.
The pioneer wants you to get it done.
Bags of smoke straight up the middle. That's it. No messing about.
If the moon, now we're talking about new moon, first quarter, full moon, or last quarter, is in Aries. Motivation of some kind. In Taurus, it asks us to look at what we value. In Gemini, it's the great communicate, create energy.
Oh, yes.
In Cancer, we're focused on nurturing and the home. In Leo, it's all about me. So that's
about
fame.
Me. It's me. It's all about
fame and recognition. Virgo is all about practical matters, and the energy for Virgo is in the details. So you might be
Analyze.
Quite wordy with that one. Libra is for justice. So if you wanted to win at court or bring something to light that needed to be seen, Libra moon is very good for that. Scorpio moon, again, psychic, soul kind of work. Sagittarius, optimism and expansion. Capricorn, money and security. Aquarius, friendships and networking. And Pisces is all about inspiration.
Absolutely. These energies are available because obviously you understand the sun makes a, and let me do this way because it'll be back to front for you guys. I realize the sun makes a tour of the zodiac once a year. It takes a year to go around the zodiac.
About 30 days per sign.
Right. But the moon is going around the earth at about 30 days, actually 28 to be more
60
accurate.
hours per sign.
Yes. So the moon is making the orbit around the earth as the earth itself is orbiting the sun. And so that makes the moon change signs very quickly, you understand. The moon's going to be changing signs every, what?
2.5 days, 60 hours.
Yeah, 60 hours, yeah. So you've got an awful wide gamut of astrological energies available to you. But you can take then the phase of the moon as well and tailor those astrological energies with the energy of the phase of the moon and the sun's placement, all of this together. You start to add the ingredients together and you wind up with like a secret sauce. It's amazing. You blend all of this together and you can tailor your magic specifically to those energies that are available. Now, I've met, I guess, Wiccans who have no truck with astrology. They say,
you don't have to. They just do full moon work, and that's fine.
But
knowledge is
energy
power.
of the moon changes with where it is in the zodiac too. So some knowledge is a really useful thing here. It's you suddenly realizing that your gearbox is more than one gear.
Our tradition has some footing in high magic, which certainly would be paying attention to the planets and the signs.
Without
to
doubt.
do spell work, especially there's formulary for that because we are in the Stuart tradition. We do kind of have this branch of high magic and this understanding of nature, which is more druidic, and of course certainly our Wiccan path. But that's what we have to say about the moon phases and moon magic today.
Oh yes.
So thank you very much for watching that. And now we're going to...
Well, if you like... Exactly. We're going to move on to something else. But if you like what we're doing right now with this, please do let us know in the comments below. And we'll start putting a few more together because, it's fun. We enjoy this sort of stuff. Yep. So thank you. All right. So moving on. And now we can interact with people and all that fun stuff again.
Wow.
Well, now.
Where did we say the moon was today? Libra. Look at this card. What do you see?
Oh, well, I see the minor justice card.
I see a scales there. Card. Yes. All right, this is
about balancing things out.
All right. So my reading for you for today is to use this energy for justice, to serve you, to be recognized, to serve you to receive what it is you want to receive. And remember not to fly off the hook because we're coming into that dark moon phase.
This card for me, whenever this card comes up, it's you're being told to make best possible use of all available resources and to be a little dispassionate if need be. Not to get so emotionally involved in a situation that you just swallow a sob story, and put your energies, put your resources where they're going to have the most benefit. Where I come from, 6 divides evenly by 2, but you will notice this person is getting 4 and this person hasn't got anything yet. So it's being measured
Something
out.
Something is out of balance.
Is it out of balance though? Is it? Because it's the scales indicates that you're weighing something, but does it indicate that you're going to balance everything out perfectly?
So your reading is
make best possible use of all available resources. Put your energy where it's most warranted, most needed, etc. Oh gosh, well thank you for all the nice comments, everybody.
So we have good morning Brenda, good morning Joanne, and Anna Louise said, I found this presentation so informative.
Well, you know...
And you have John and Sparky and...
Gilda. Hello, Gilda, as well. And some comic in Sweden who's joined us for the first time. And that's lovely, so thank you. Yeah, that's basically it. We intend to try and do more of this. More what you would class as perennial content. But we're sat here making a program anyway. We're here for Elevensies. So we're going to try and repurpose that. And an example, I don't know if you guys want to go check it out. I just put it up yesterday evening, I want to say. We did on a Magickal Moonday when we were talking about astrology. We looked at the Black Moon astrology cards, which was kind of cool. You might want to just check that out, and you'll see how we've sort of repurposed that content, if you will. Put in a bit of B-roll
Kathleen
and all that
says,
fun stuff.
this discussion on the moon phases flashed me back to your Craft of the Wise class.
But of course.
And now that I'm paying more attention to the moon phases in the zodiac, it makes a lot more sense than it did when we learned about it in class. I know the Craft of the Wise class are like these downloads of information.
Can be
and
intense.
you kind of get that 2-hour block of download and then you think, oh my God, and you need that month in between to digest what we've talked about for sure. And we'd also like to remind people that in January, we have an astrology class starting. So if you want to know more, because believe me, there's way more. Mm-hmm. I've been studying astrology over 40 years now, and I still only know about this much.
I see. That's what I love about Lisa is she's the perpetual student. She realizes,
always digging.
Yeah, you. There's like we've met people, and bless them, you know, ignorance and arrogance are unfortunate bedfellows. You know, I know all there is to know.
I don't need to learn anything else.
No, you
wow,
don't.
That's great. I need to learn something all the time.
How did you manage to get both legs in the one trouser leg?
But seriously, if you want to learn more about astrology, it's a very, very interesting course.
Oh, yeah.
And it starts out like, even if you don't know your own zodiac sign, it starts out
we'll
there.
Get you there.
And we do the planets and the signs and the houses and aspects. And by the time we get to class number 12, you will be able to write horoscopes.
It's going to take you a year to get there, though. You know,
once a month, because you need to have the lesson and then time to practice that lesson, and then the lesson and time to practice that lesson, and each one is layered on the next. You know, you learn one thing, and then the next thing you use that to learn the next thing, and then you use those 2 things to learn the third thing, and you use those 3 things to learn the 4th thing, and it just layers up, builds up.
They do.
Good morning, Savannah.
And it's so lovely to actually start to figure that out for yourself. You know, you start to
Kathleen says I signed up yesterday.
Oh, another head bleeding experience for you, Kathleen.
You're a brave soul.
Yeah, no, actually joking.
Oh, and Brenda says she can't wait. She signed up as well.
Oh, it's an awesome course, and we do this one online too. So it
we're
doesn't matter.
Going to because
doesn't matter where you
who
are.
knows what's going to happen January, February, you know. And we're lucky that we have been able to adapt. And we have the privilege of being able to teach people all over the world that way. You know, maybe it wasn't the thing we really wanted to do, to teach on Zoom, but it certainly has kept our community together. And it has given us quite an interesting ability to reach other people. Like we have one of Christopher's Anglesey Druids on our Craft of the Wise class. And he has people from our court on his class. So we're able to interchange people where we wouldn't have been able to without this technology.
We are openly Druid adjacent.
We're Druid adjacent, yes.
Totally respect the Druid practices.
Kathleen says, I'm a Virgo and I like to learn. And Savannah says, I took astrology and loved it. But I need to take it again, laugh out loud. We have a baby finally on the way this morning, by the way. Oh, born with either Libra or Scorpio moon.
Yay.
Wow. We'll see what happens there.
Impressive. Okay, so
this is going to be a very, very psychic baby, I believe, Savannah. Born in the Scorpio dark moon, if they're born like tomorrow.
We just apologise for the mess that we've left them to sort out.
Sorry.
And
who are you talking about?
Any new kid coming around now.
Oh, planet, yeah.
ballsed it up spectacularly.
Yeah.
Go sort this out if you can.
Yeah, it's just a shame.
Sparky says, I can travel and take your class. Indeed you can. That's the wonderful thing about laptops and all that amazing thing. So if you do want to know more, Emma is quite happy to tell you all about it.
It's demanding his pets.
Yes, it's all about me.
But you can't pick him up. He won't let you.
Oh, gosh. He's fickle. He's very fickle.
He's very silly because I'm petting him all over and he loves it. But if you try to pick him up, he becomes like this stiff little...
Well, you might be going to eat him.
Try to kill him every day.
That's it. Well, that's what we try to do every
Silly
day.
Thing.
Astrology.awarenessshop.com.
Astrology.awarenessshop.com.
If you want to learn more about that course, it's there. And if you get a second, do check out the review we put on the Black Moon astrology cards. You'll find it was the one we put up, most recent video we just put up.
Yep.
So check it out. Let us know what you think.
And we'll be putting up the Moon Phase Moon Magic thing soon.
We're in a learning phase. We know nothing, we don't know what we don't know. We're trying to find out. So
experts on YouTube, I don't know. But we're trying to go with the flow. And we do feel that it's really important to be able to serve community wherever the people are. So.
Oh, it's an amazing thing. Yeah, it's an amazing thing. The only downside about remote teaching, remote learning, I mean, it is interactive.
Energy work is really hard to do that way.
It is, and you can't cook.
I can't cook. No, we can't do kitchen witching. And the herbal class, I always make foodie and tinctures and whatever else, teas and things. And the energy is a little different for rituals, certainly on Zoom, but you can get something out of it.
You can get a lot out of it. We've gotten good at doing
the chakra crystal class. We even managed to adapt that, the practical for that. The only thing we really cannot teach on the internet is Reiki.
It can't be done.
You cannot attune somebody. Stare at this crystal and get your attunement. No.
No, that doesn't work.
So we'll be
just bring your forehead close to the computer
waiting
screen.
Until people get their act together.
Yeah, if ever. So we remain quietly optimistic that hopefully people will do what's right to look after themselves and others. We hope that's the case. All right, so thank you.
Ow!
Oh no, did he just yomp you?
Oh gosh.
Badly?
Oh, yes.
Oh, dear. That wasn't good then. All right. Well, we'll have to go and put in an elastoplast or a Band-Aid on this.
A Band-Aid.
Oh, no. So thank you so very much for watching. It's been a pleasure, and we appreciate you very much. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. Have an amazingly wonderful day. We got to go take care of Lisa.